Sweet. All right, well, according to them, I am live now, right? Are we live?
I believe so.
All right, cool. So, I am Buttica, and this is the any percent glitchless run of The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening, the remake. I'm pretty much just gonna get right into it. This is like my first marathon, and I'm super sweaty. So let's just the first thing we have to do is we have to do RNG manipulation. So what I'm gonna actually do is I'm gonna reset the console. And when I reset the console here, as soon as it shuts off, we're gonna hit this timer. This way we can get the correct seed of what we need, so we can get the right solution for the windfish at the end. All right. So what that does is that picks the right seed for us, so we have the right solution in D4, as well as the right solution for the end. So we're gonna make a new file here. I promise y'all I will loosen up as we get there. I forgot to turn that off. It's too late now. All right, let's go. This is also nice because this is the first time that I'm like just not looking at chat. Also, you may notice that my game is not in English. I do not know what they are saying. We play the game in German because it has less text boxes. It makes it go by a lot faster. So pretty much the first thing we're gonna do, we're just gonna go down here. We're gonna get our sword. The beginning is a lot of really just kind of walking. We're gonna run into this owl a lot. He's got nothing important to tell us. Half the time it's only 2 text boxes. But you do get a lot of ooh-hoo for the ooh-woo. If you have ever played this game, you would know that if you don't know the ending, because the ending is random when you're not manipulating the seed, you have to do what is called the trading quest. We are going to do some of the trading quest. We do enough of the trading quest to get bananas to give to the monkeys to build a bridge so we can get into the castle. After that, there is no more trading quest. We are done. Which is good, because I don't want to do that. Once again, we're going to meet the owl. I almost feel like I should have practiced commentary. It's almost... No, you don't want to do that. Another thing that you're going to notice pretty soon in this game is there's a lot of references to Mario, including a raccoon that we are going to spray with mushroom dust in order to make him better, who looks suspiciously like Mario himself. Makes sense, right?
Yeah, so as we get the mushroom dust and find the raccoon, I think it's a great time to talk about the donation point of Pace. So if you go to donate.tiltify.com/@speedrun, you can donate to the Hackensack University Medical Center Foundation to support with COVID relief and all of the great stuff that the healthcare workers are doing around that. Just a nice little way to support everyone whilst we're going through quite a fun time.
Yeah, definitely. Anytime that it seems like I'm taking my time to talk, feel free to put donations in there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm quite interested to watch this one. I love the Legend of Zelda series, and as a casual player, I'm all over Link's Awakening. I tend to run Ocarina, but it'd be interesting to see your route as well, because I heard it's changed recently.
Yeah, well, I'm sticking to what I know for the most part. There are a lot of new things, but since I had like a week to kind of like learn this, I was like, I'm gonna stick to the basic. This game though is super great. I never played the DX version, so this was actually the first version for me. And I think it's arguably the cutest Legend of Zelda.
Oh, absolutely. It looks beautiful. And I really like the sort of plasticky effect on the environment and such. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, it's very aesthetically pleasing. A lot of people in the chat are normally saying they want like Link to the Past and things like that in this same style.
Oh yeah, that'd be amazing. I mean, Link to the Past is definitely one of the most monumental Legend of Zelda games. But Link's Awakening is just so much fun, so cute and beautiful. It deserves this new look.
Oh yeah, the fresh coat of paint. And we're gonna meet the owl again. He's gonna say count them, 2 text boxes of nothing. I honestly like, my favorite thing is when other people, like B-Dude Games, when he comes in, he's another runner of this game. He hangs out in my chat sometimes, and I hang out in his, but he's like, he, for some reason, knows everything they say when they say it, you know? Like, when you're talking to Marin, it's like, yeah, she's pretty much just saying, I'm in love with you, and Link's like, oh, cool. Like, that's full conversation, but...
Yeah, I suppose when you run the game often enough, you don't need to learn German to read the text boxes.
Yeah, definitely. Honestly, it would be fun to, but everything moves so quick anyway. Alright. I'm going to do a safety save right here because I hate how this Yoshi works. Even though I just spent the past probably like 20 minutes practicing this part. This Yoshi is kind of finicky. You can get directly on top of it, and it'll still just drop it. And so, just for marathon safety, I'm going to make a save there just because I don't want to risk losing the money. But we got it first try anyway, so that's fantastic. That's good news for me. So Yoshi is also the beginning of the trade quest. So we're going to take Yoshi, we're going to trade Yoshi for a bow, we're going to trade the bow for dog food, and we're going to trade the bow for, dog food for bananas. Which all makes perfectly good sense. We trade the bananas for a stick, and then we're done. Next, we need to go steal stuff. So the first thing we're stealing is the shovel. Another thing that a lot of people will say is, why don't you just get the shopkeeper to save the island because he can shoot lasers out of his hands and kill you. It's fantastic. Another fun little thing that Nintendo put in here, the reason that we have to get game overs is because anytime we come back, even if it's way later in the game, he's going to kill us. So it's best to just get it out of the way now. Another thing I'm doing to be safe here is I'm going in here twice to get the bow and the shovel now. That way I can get 10 extra arrows later and have kind of like a big bumper, like a buffer of what I have for what I have in stock. But once you steal something from this game, it changes your name to Thief. So no matter what your game title was before that, as soon as you steal something, you are now Thief for the rest of the game. And in German, it's Dieb.
Yeah, what a great little addition.
And then as I just finish up this like little trading bit, I mean, if you have any donations, feel free.
Nope. As of yet, we are still sitting on a lot of Super Monkey Ball hype.
No problem.
The race just before.
I do remember this dog talking about it just loves fashion and everything, but all it has is dog food. So I feel like a lot of people can relate to that. Trading their food for clothes. But that's all we'll do for the...
It does look so beautiful.
Oh yeah, so that's what we'll do for the trading right now. We're off to the first dungeon to fight the cheeseburger worm for some reason. And yeah, pretty good.
So I appreciate there's a lot of walking in this sort of early part, but where do you feel your time is at the moment with just gone 8:30 at this point?
Coming in here, I'm pretty much on par. It's probably about 10 seconds behind what I normally do just because of that safety save. Other than that, we're moving right on pace. It's kind of like, I don't know, the beginning can be slow to get into, probably because it's supposed to be more fun for people that are picking the game up and getting into the story and having to explore everything. Mine is just like, let's go to the beach, let's go to the woods, let's go to the beach, let's go to the woods, all right, into the temple. So first thing that we want to get when we come into here is we want to get the feather. This lets us jump. This is one of the most important things that we will have. I mean, outside of the sword, you know. The fact that you're able to jump in a Zelda game is amazing. A lot of people got hyped when it was in Breath of the Wild. But apparently it's just been in this game forever.
Yeah, this game, the Four Swords game, is a great little mechanic to add in, especially in the 2D world where you can see above and jump over the little gaps.
Exactly, just like right here. It's crazy because usually when I'm doing runs of this game, I'll do runs back to back, and the first thing I always do when I start a new run is I forget that I can't run with the Pegasus boots yet, I can't jump, and I'll just walk directly off a ledge, and it's a little ridiculous. Also, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using the quick save feature. The game uses a quick save feature a lot, so instead of using Mambo's Mambo, which is a fish song that we learn later in the game, which is usually people's favorite song, we actually just go and do a quick load, which puts us to the front of the dungeon and also resets it, which is pretty handy in a lot of different ways. We'll only see it once here. We won't see it in D2, but we will see it a lot in the later dungeons, especially the Catfish Maw, which is dungeon 5.
Yeah, chat currently excited for Dungeon 3 when you collect your boots.
Oh yeah, dude. That's when you gotta go. My first experience with anything like that was A Link Between Worlds, which was my favorite Legend of Zelda game for a while outside of Twilight Princess. I've just always been a Zelda fan. This is my first speedrun game ever. Just felt right, you know? Like it's... Pretty much we are already almost done with Dungeon 1. There's not much to it. Also in this run, generally when you finish it, you're gonna want to finish with 5 is like the best amount of hearts. Usually I finish with 6. We're probably gonna finish with 8 or 9, just for more marathon safety reasons. Last thing I want to do is constantly have to go back and fix things. Alright, so here's a cheeseburger worm. This can be either incredibly easy and fast, or incredibly annoying when it comes to his movement. So the first hit's kind of a gimme. The second one is kind of all over the place. Just like that. Don't fall. There we go. Okay. That took longer than we expected, but I did not want to fall in that hole, so that's a W in my book. I don't normally say things like that. I don't know why I said that. Alright. So we got our heart, we're gonna go get our instrument. We're just gonna keep on moving. And there's no splits. I am constantly trying to put my hand down to hit a split. So usually the splits go every time you get an instrument. Sometimes we'll hit them a little bit earlier because we leave some dungeons sooner. The reason for that is like in the Eagle's Tower, after we break the 4th pillar, we leave, because if we leave and then come back, this actually skips like a 1.5-minute long cutscene. How it does that, I do not know. I couldn't tell you. But there's a lot of stuff. The same as Dungeon 4 is actually the final boss that we will be fighting before the Windfish. So we do some things sort of out of order, but nothing like off the walls crazy out of order. And then next up is the next part of this trade route. This is where we're going to get the bananas, so we can finally get into the castle after D2.
Chat just asking a little bit about donations there. Your best bet is to donate through the Tiltify link, because then 100% of the donation goes to the charity, whereas any bits or anything like that will be stripped out by Twitch. And we want to make sure as much as possible goes towards the research. So if you go to tiltify.com/@speedrun, that's where you can donate towards this brilliant cause.
All right, we've got our bananas. He ate the dog food, full can and all, because he said, I'm tired of bananas, and, you know, live your life, man. You do you. You know, in terms of commentary, I think I'm killing it. Just gonna put that out there. I think I'm doing a great job. Next up, we're gonna be going back to the woods here. These kids are gonna yell at us. They're gonna say, hey, my dog, Circle Dog, he's gone missing by the Moblins, and I'm gonna be like, oh my gosh, I'm on my way to go get him.
I'm always impressed that they managed to steal the dog at all. It's very chompy.
It is. Good old Bow Wow. He's also kind of like, I don't know. As far as like the quote-unquote escort missions go in this game, he's a little more annoying than Marin is. I mean, Marin literally just follows you, whereas the Chain Chomp dog will follow you, but you need him to eat specific things. But what he eats is RNG based, so he can either be really hungry and eat everything in sight, or he can just sit there and stare, which is not ideal.
Yeah, having him open that dungeon is a nightmare without glitches.
You're gonna hear me spam the B button a lot. That's because I have no patience. What I'm gonna do here, I'm not exactly sure how he's supposed to get to the wall there, but usually you can bait him into charging the wall ahead of time. And I can die right there, which is sweet. You can usually bait him into running into the wall ahead of time by just going directly into the wall. The good thing about game overs in this game is they don't really take much time. So let's try this again. This time with feeling.
And whilst you're feeling that, I'm just going to go through. We've had a couple of donations. One coming through from KMIA Official with $5 saying, let's go, Butterkite. And a whole $100 from Cyril104 saying, congrats BDK on a wonderful exhibition. Clearly your commentary is bringing out the generosity from people who want to see this research towards coronavirus going well. Thank you so much for those donations. Incredible.
Shout outs to KMIA and Cyril. Those are actually two of the mods of my channel.
I mean, Cyril is now sitting at the top donator for Pace thus far, so forevermore your name will be BDK top donator from your run.
Well, there you go. So now we're gonna go over here, and we're gonna hope that we don't touch this stupid heart or fall in a hole. Fantastic. And then we're just gonna hope this dog eats this guy, which he didn't. It's okay. pretty much. And then if you ever watch the actual, like, any percent with glitches runs of this, it's kind of ridiculous. They use the like there to get on top of these trees, and that's their way to get around everything. So luckily, Bow Wow ate that flower there. Hopefully he eats these guys, which he does, and then we're gonna get him to eat these, and we're in Dungeon 2. It's as easy as that. Oh, no, you go.
I was going to say the glitch to get on top of the trees is surprisingly easy to pull off, but it's still definitely wanted to qualify for this.
Yeah, it's still definitely ridiculous, and they did have a vote on it at one point to find out if that did count as glitchless, but it didn't make that cut. The closest thing that you'll see to a glitch in this run is in Dungeon 5, I'll do a key skip. Normally you'll see that you can only go in 8 specific directions with Link, unless when you jump, you can actually pivot him in between those 8 static directions. And so what we do is we jump and we have him turn just gently, and that way we can actually use our hook shot to hit something that we're not supposed to be able to hit. That does not count as a glitch, solely because it's a part of the natural, like, in-game mechanics. That's fun, again.
It must be tough to decide where some of these fall on the glitch line. The like, for example, you can get up to those trees just through accident, really.
Yeah.
It's the jump across that's the challenging part.
Alright. Kind of focus a little bit there. There's a lot of times when we can skip a lot of different enemies. That Keese is very unfun because he normally knocks me in the hole, but the rest of these enemies you'll see will get easier as we go, just because the more power-ups we get. It makes it get a lot easier, especially once you get the Pegasus boots. Luckily, we get more of this powder because after this dungeon, we will not get any more powder, but we do need it for the first phase of the final boss. But luckily, we can be pretty spammy with it in the beginning because this dungeon actually gives you a full reload of it. Coming down here to get this boss key, we have to actually kill these guys in a specific order. This, like, Reaper dude that throws spears can be a bit of a headache sometimes. Do that. Thanks, guy. You're always there for me. Some of the frustrating things that happen there is literally as simple as throwing the pot and then you just being too close to the wall. Somewhere that you get knocked out of order there. Another fact that's pretty neat to know is whenever these pathways open up here, if they magically appear, you can't stand on them and wait. You would actually still have to walk off and get on it, but anything that you reveal by pushing something off of it, you can actually stand on that, and it will take you down. That's not the most crazy fact, but, you know, it's there. Normally I would jump there to get an early way over, but just because I only have 2.5 hearts, I'm going to play it safe and go the actual route there. And this boss is the most talkative boss in the entirety of the game. He talks here, he talks after you first hit him, he talks after you hit the bottle, he talks when the phase changes. No other boss does that, and I don't know why they made him do that, but I guess that just gives him a little bit of a quirky personality. But he is one of the only bosses, really, that isn't RNG. You know where he's gonna throw it, how many times he's gonna throw it, and the exact way to do it.
Another donation has come in from Grinfire, another $5, saying, "Take my money, charity," and then adding on freezer crabs.
It's the dream. Alright, so now we're gonna enter phase 2. The easiest way to do this is literally just wait for the real one to appear. We'll point towards him like this, eat that, and then what it should do is it should spin around, hit him twice, and then you get a 5th hit. But that time, it actually hit him before I spun it. So he's still got 1 hit left. And that's the end of Dungeon 2. So even in the sake of safety, we're still going to skip that heart, because there's no need to get it. We will be getting the one from Dungeon 3, though, which is also one that's usually skipped. We just don't want to grab every heart. For those of you that haven't played this game, the point is to get all the instruments together in order to wake the windfish. You are in a dream. Spoiler.
Major spoilers there.
Major
Sliding that
spoiler.
one in.
If you guys didn't know that, you'll figure it out eventually. This right here is one of the most useful warp spots ever. It's by Dampé's hut, but since we're playing in German, his name is Boris. So it's by Boris's hut, because for some reason you can't use Dampé in German. Other than that, we are going to be going back down here. We're going to return Bow Wow. We're going to buy some bombs, steal some arrows, and then head to the castle to finish the trading quest.
Brilliant. While we head on for that, Zojo has donated $5 as well. Thank you so much for that. He says, "Excellent commentary. I am learning so much about the run. Thank you." Also, Pocket Marin. So thank you so much for that. All money is going towards the Hackensack University Medical Center Foundation, and they are helping with research and treatment for the COVID-19 situation that some of you may have heard about. I don't know how many of you have noticed that going on. But everything that is donated goes directly to their COVID response fund. So thank you so much for those donations.
The dream is alive. So earlier we got a chest that had 50 rupees in it, so that way we can actually buy 3 sets of bombs to max them out. And then later in Dungeon 3, we will get a rupee that'll give us 300 bucks, and that'll be the last that we need. We've stolen these arrows, but we do not need to go back there, so unfortunately the shopkeeper will not get to kill me again, as much as he'd probably like to. I think it's very fair, though, you know? Like, you steal a shovel, he kills you, you know? That's, that's the way things go, Coho. One of the more fun features of this game is that when you have bombs and arrows, if you select them together, you actually shoot the arrow, or I'm sorry, shoot the bomb on the arrows. And then we use that a lot to get things that are usually out of reach, or kind of work them at a different angle that sometimes wouldn't work with just an arrow or just a bomb. So this is the end of our trade quest. We're gonna get a stick. One thing about this is that in the English version of this game, the end of this cutscene kind of rises away slowly, like it actually pans out, whereas in the German version, it just kind of awkwardly like cuts away, and you'll see that right after this text of this stick. Right there. So, normally, the game would be a lot more fluid in that part. And then if you haven't had enough Mario references, here's your next Mario reference. Actually, I think we already saw some, but here's more Goombas for you. We'll see more things like bloopers and such as the game continues on. Fun stuff running around the castle. This is a lot of well-placed bombs and arrows. It can be a little tricky sometimes. Other times it just really works. I guess it just depends on how well the controller wants to respond to your inputs that day. We're going around the castle in order to collect 4 golden bird leaves, which we're gonna give to some guy who lives with frogs, so he can let us into his garden and we can dig up a key.
I mean, when you take that out of context, it just sounds so ridiculous.
Yeah.
But we have had a couple more donations come in with Donny Donchez, who has given into peer pressure, $5 from him. I guess if everyone is doing it, Bud is sass, he says. And then Smithy Puff Jr. also chucking $5 into the pot, saying, thanks for the commentary and spoiling the ending. Isn't life all just a dream though? Thank you so much for those donations, guys.
It is all a dream when you're speedrunning, I tell you. Oh man. So we're going down here. We still can't move fast. That's the hardest part about the first setups to the first 3 dungeons here, is that we don't have the Pegasus boots. Once we get the Pegasus boots, we will pretty much no longer walk normally ever again. So this is just a little bonus heart for safety. Okay, we're gonna go down here. We're gonna try to get around these guards, but also to play it safe, we're probably gonna grab another heart real quick before we go through them. And then we're gonna get the last feather, or leaf. I honestly don't know what they are. That's why I call them bird leaves. Don't follow me. Perfect. Right.
Chat pointing out that spoiling this game's quite a challenge with it being 30 years old.
Yeah. Honestly, it was new to me, you know. When I was playing through it, I had to tell people to not really backseat it, but if you're watching a speedrun of it, I don't think you're too worried about having the ending of the game spoiled for you, you know. So now we're gonna take our 5 gold feathers. We're gonna go down here to the Salsacker. My German is it's bad. It's not good. We're gonna go over here to Home Dog, and we're gonna be like, yo, here's your feathers. One thing that somebody always tells me in my chat is that if I stay in this room for several minutes, we get to hear an Easter egg song and also kill the run. So, fun fact for you. Awesome, awesome. Pretty much just gonna cut through this, hope we don't fall in any holes. Get this key, and then we're gonna go unlock Dungeon 3. And then we have to go the long way back around to get into Dungeon 3, because the game doesn't want anything for you to be easy or time-saving.
Pulling back to Bird Leaves, KMIA official has dropped another $20 to celebrate you getting those bird leaves. And Orvelis also $5 coming in, saying that it's a donation for a great cause whilst watching his or her favorite streamer. So thank you so much for those guys. It's all going towards the Hackensack University Medical Center Foundation and their COVID-19 response. 100% of your donations are going through to them if you go through our tiltify.com/@speedrun link. It just avoids Twitch taking any money through bits and subscribers and such.
Super good cause. We're moving in here to Dungeon 3. The first thing we're going to do is probably get hurt by bombs that are sentient and walking around. Or that guy. You know, whichever one comes first. We're going to move them around. The bombs can be annoying because once they bounce around, if you try to stop them with your shield, it makes them stay alive longer. So the best strategy usually whenever they're rolling like crazy is to just let them hit you. We only really encounter a few more of them as we move forward with it. But this dungeon's pretty quick to go. There's a lot of extra stuff in this dungeon that we're just gonna completely ignore. We get as many keys as we need and we get out. But it's also fine because we finally get the Pegasus boots and we don't have to move like snails for the rest of the run. It'll actually become a speed run. Those red things that drop in the triangles, those are pieces of power. They drop after a specific amount of kills. I believe it's, you know, I honestly can't remember right now. I believe it's 32 kills on top of how many hearts you have. The acorn is for when you get a bunch of kills and don't get hurt, which it honestly gives you a little more strength there, so you don't get, you take half damage. And the piece of power will give you double damage dealt. So it's usually better to get the piece of power if you end up accidentally grabbing any of them. Solely because it also makes you move a little bit faster. It's usually good for helping you get through different bosses as long as you can kind of use your kill counting. These guys are pretty RNG with how they move as well. They either want to be really helpful or just completely ignore it.
Chat just confirming you there on the power triangles. 32 plus total hearts is the correct number.
Sweet. See, I knew. I've played this game before. All right, now we can move through these tents and other parts of the thing because we have the Pegasus boots. We blew this door open as soon as we got over there. I don't know if you guys saw that. Pretty slick. We can now jump further, run faster. This is a Pegasus boots ad now, so you guys get out there. I heard the only way to get them is through donating though. And that's me, adding my own commentary, thinking I'm great. But yeah, so we're gonna keep these guys away from us. A lot of the time, I'm going to be switching between the feather and arrows. I switch probably a lot more than other people because I get scared I'm going to accidentally run out of arrows. Which there are ways to recoup those losses, but I'd rather not have to do that.
Well, one way to recoup those losses is to get more donations from this amazing cause, and you are getting support from the other room. Baedica has put down $20 saying, hello from the other room. Extra special good luck to Bart on this run from Bay and the kitties. Love to see those Mambo emotes. And then a little heart.
Thanks. I'm so pumped to have so much support from everybody right now. This has been, a lot of people have been sticking with me through this, this whole week. This is my first time doing a marathon run. Hopefully not the last one, but this was the goal, to start speedrunning and aiming for one of these. So I really appreciate everybody that's helping, that's donating, that's watching, that's making me feel like a dork. So pretty much we've done that. We've got to get one last key, and we're gonna go fight the boss, which is a big jello blob with an eyeball. I don't know where the creativity for creating half of these enemies came from. One of them is literally a face on a floor. So, I mean, it's probably just a really slow day at Nintendo. we're almost out of D3 here. We're gonna go up here, kill this piranha plant, grab our shovel again because we don't need anything else but the sword for this final fight. Awesome.
Chat happily joining you as part of the Dork Brigade, all professing to be dorks themselves on the inside.
I'm excited to go back and watch this with the VOD in the chat. I had a few people that were disappointed that I wasn't going to have chat on today, and that's just because nerves. So, as you can see, this boss is pretty straightforward. Hit the eyes to cut them apart, use Pegasus boots to split them up, and then just 4-hit each eye. As long as you get it quick, you don't have to deal with any cycles, you don't have to deal with anything. It's usually pretty predictable. One of my practice runs earlier this week, though, he moved away. I'd never seen him do before, and he hasn't done it since, so at least we've got that going for us. And once again, I tried to hit a split. So now from here, we're going to go get a few things. We're going to get the Ocarina. We're going to get Marin. It's going to look like we're going to put her in our pocket, but actually she's going to follow us. And then we are going to use her as a Poke Flute to wake up a walrus so we can get through to fight a sandworm. I promise you I'm not making any of this stuff up. Here's our favorite owl again, coming to Uhu in the chat.
Well, whilst the owl Uhu's, Jigs Casey, thank you so much for your $20. A message saying the best streamer ever, a great cause, and she's putting her prayers into RN Jesus.
Alright, next thing that we want to do is when we're on our way over to Zoodorf, which is like Animal Village or something in English, is we want to open up this right here. We're not going to use that portal until we go to Dungeon 6, but we get it open now. We're going to go over here and go underneath of here so we can go down. First we have to talk to the walrus so he can dream about Marin, and then we got to go back to Movendorf in order to get the Ocarina and then find her down at the beach. Normally right now I wouldn't have 5 hearts, but I will also ruin a lot of runs by only having 4 hearts and shooting myself with a bomb arrow against this sandworm. Which the sandworm can have a few problems with it, being over the fact that it's on top of moving sand. There's a hole in the middle. If you fall in the hole, you lose a lot of time. If the key falls in the hole before you can grab it, you also lose a lot of time. But now that we're getting the Ocarina and we're moving through this, we're going to start using these warps a lot more throughout this game. So even though we spoiled it for you guys and told you that it's a dream, we're actually going to go to sleep now. We're going to have a dream inside of a dream. It's hashtag deep. These guys right here, if we didn't have the Pegasus boots, we would not be able to get past them because every time we take a step, normally, they also move. They also take 2 hits to kill, which is what the Pegasus boots boost does. Fun thing to say. It does 2 damage per hit. So that way we're able to move through them, which is why it just makes the most sense to get the Ocarina here. So now that we've got that, we're going back to the beach because we can't go there enough. Pretty much, this is just a long way of running and me hoping that I don't bonk on the walls, which I didn't. Everybody please clap. Thank you. All right, we're gonna go through here. There's where we traded the bananas. We come back down here, we get Marin. This is where Marin's gonna tell us that she's basically in love with us, and we're gonna say, aw, cool. So if you have any donations or anything you wanna plug in there, now's the time to do it.
Yep, and now is a great time because Jager Hannes, I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong, is very happy to support you and this awesome cause with their $20, adding into our total fund. SMM Demon has chucked another $5 in. Thank you so much for that. Well, I guess if everyone donates, I will too. Good luck, Bar. And then it put a bunch of emojis that are, I believe, the Bulbasaur from my experience, because it just come up as the text and I have no idea. But we are so close now to that $1,000 number. We're at $848 $56. So we are really moving forward. Thank you so much. This is all going towards a great cause, which is helping with the support and research around COVID-19 from the Hackensack University Medical Center Foundation. And it is just such a great cause because it's affecting us all so much now. I'm a little bit jealous that Link's spending so much time on the beach because obviously we can't at the moment, being stuck in our homes.
It's true, but around LA they are starting to open stuff. So, you know, looks like things might be getting better. I don't know, I'm not a doctor, don't take my word at that. So we're gonna go back down here. We're gonna use Marin as a Poke-Flute, like I said, and we are going to wake this walrus up. She's gonna go hang out with her German rabbit friend, and we're gonna go fight a worm in the sand. Everybody's gonna be happy. I think this is kind of the over theme of the game, so in a sense, this is this game's Zelda's Lullaby, but a little more catchy.
Yeah, great sound design in this game.
There is. Hands down, my favorite song is Mambo's Mambo, which we will be seeing after D4 here, which is also the song that lets us warp anywhere from anywhere. This guy right here can be a little tricky, but not too bad. It's pretty much as long as you hit him before he comes out and not completely miss him like I did, you get 2 hits right away, and then you can also get a few more there as well. This is once again a little nerve-wracking because you don't want to fall in the hole. He's kind of close there to that hole, so we're going to go over there and spam A and hope to God me or the key do not fall in. It looks like we got it. Thank goodness. You fall in the hole, you actually have to walk all the way around. It's a little bit annoying, especially if you fall before the fight ends, because then you have to start the fight completely over. And welcome back, Mr. Owl. A reoccurring theme in this game and most Legend of Zelda games. And then we are gonna move again. We're gonna go to back to Marin, and we're gonna learn her song. We will only use it twice. One is to kill a bunch of rabbits, and the other time is to open the windfish egg. So once again, if you have anything to say, this is another good time.
Great, so I would just take this opportunity to remind everyone that donation is through tiltify.com/@speedrun, or you can type !donate in chat and it will give you the link there. And all of the money that is raised through this is going directly to the Hackensack Meriden Health response for COVID. It's a really good cause. So just as a point of interest, $3 will pay for a N95 mask for the healthcare workers out there. $10 pays for an antibody test to help research treatments. And again, everything is going to that COVID response fund. So thank you so much for those donations that have come through so far. Orpheus has chucked down another $10, so thank you for that. Also putting more Bulbasaur emojis in his text, which is thankful that I got that right the first time, but telling you again, here's to my favorite runner doing amazingly in the game. Thank you so much, guys, for these donations.
Yeah, that Bulbasaur was an emote as a joke that's quickly become, I mean, honestly, it's my favorite, you know?
Absolutely.
Oh no, you're good.
I was going to say, Pulse and I had an argument earlier about who's the best starter, and it is Bulbasaur, there's no question.
It is. Everybody sleeps on Bulbasaur, and I have no idea why. basically we're just going to open up the dungeon here, and then we have to take a really long track to get to the spot that we just opened right in front of us. Simple enough, really. We're going to run back, but what we did is we did warp over here by Boris's hut. It's the first of many times that we're going to warp there, especially if I have a little bit of an oopsie later on and fall into a hole, which we're just going to hope that doesn't happen. We also will return. There's a lot of backtracking in this game. A lot of it is thankfully avoided by the quick loads that we do, as well as when we use the fish song to warp. Otherwise, we are continuously going back down paths we've already been down to get to somewhere that's slightly further just to progress the game. And then once we go in here, you guys will see this is the first dungeon that we will not be finishing right away, because this is the final boss that we will be taking on at the end of the game. I don't remember what this is normally called, but I like the name better in German anyway, because Wonder Tunnel just sounds nice. Another thing that I'm doing right here is... Oh, yep.
Say it sounds mystical.
Oh, yeah. One thing that I'm doing is I'm getting extra bombs just to kind of pad myself here. When we go into the next dungeon, we need at least 12. And that's planning on not messing anything up. So normally what we would do is we'd only grab 10. We'd grab it on our second way through here, but because we are about to reset the dungeon anyway, we can actually get a little bit of safety there in terms of the bombs. Let's not save the game. Let's load the game. So we're already back in. So now we're gonna get the 10 extra bombs on top of the bombs we already have. We're gonna go open this door. The Wonder Tunnel is full of these bugs that can really be annoying, solely for the fact that whenever you walk into a room, the first thing they do is move as much as possible, and usually the first thing they do is move directly into you. So if you're low health going into a room where you know these bugs are going to be, chances are they're going to come and hit you. There's a piece of power. Probably just going to skip that for now. Ideally, that would drop a little bit later. But since I went there, we're just going to get to the mini-boss without it, and we will probably be fine. Another thing that's coming up here is we are going to see different tiles that are on the ground. The way that they light up is a way for us to get through to the... to the boss key. It's also a way to confirm that our RNG manipulation at the beginning of the game worked. So I'm going to go up here and check this. And since that one started first, that means that we got it right. There's only one seed that starts at the upper right, which means that we now know the ending of the game is going to be 4 rights, up, 2 lefts, and up, and then we will be at the Windfish. The way that RNG is calculated is it picks the seed depending on when you first turn the console on, so that's why we did a hard reset at the beginning of the run, to when you pick a profile and actually open the game. Which, when I first started speedrunning this game, I did not understand that at all. It took me a few times to figure that out. Especially because I would try to reset the console with the controller. This guy's giving me a bit of a run. Okay. So when you go through here, we're going to grab the flippers. Get that so we cannot die. We're going to grab the flippers here, and then we're going to get the boss key, and then we are done with this dungeon for the next, like, 50 minutes or so. Till the end of the game.
So out of interest, how does it? How do you get that D4 seed? Is it just sheer luck from the reset, or is there a way to reset it and set that?
Yeah.
seed?
So the way that we do it is when I set the timer, I use what the other streamers use. You set it at a minute. So the second that the console turns off, you'll see a loading wheel on the screen. The second that that loading wheel goes away, you start your timer. If the console starts back up at about 45.5 seconds, then you are in the right zone. Then all that's left is you have to hit the... Oop. You're going to have to hit the button to start it at 35... thank you, Link. At 35.5, and then that's how you know you get the correct seed. Sorry, I could not, like, talk and think there. Alright, we got the boss key. Let's get out of here. I'm done with this place. It's time to go talk to the fish. The big, beautiful fish. A lot of people somehow get annoyed with the meme that is "This is the best song," but a lot of us also like to divulge in this musical masterpiece.
I mean, we saw it before the run started, but now's a great chance to see just how many fish emotes we can get in chat. Here they come.
This is the moment we've all been waiting for. So now that we've heard our favorite song in the entire world, we don't ever need to listen to anything ever again. We can leave, and we can now warp from anywhere to any other warp spot that we please. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go back to Zoodorf, and we are going to go fight a giant armored man to get a key for Dungeon 6, and then we're going to go to Dungeon 5. Because Dungeon 5 does not have a key. But for some reason it makes more sense to get it now. And as I'm going through this, I mean, if you have anything else to add, plug. I know nothing's like moving too crazy for you, but...
Yep, no, again, it's just to talk about how great the work from the healthcare professionals are, or is, sorry, going towards this COVID response. It's fantastic. And I think it's important that we all just do take a moment to thank those who are currently on the front lines. That's the healthcare workers that are directly dealing with COVID, but also those who work in retail. They can't really step away. We need food. We need people to buy from. Those who work in delivery. There's so many great people out there still risking their own health just to make sure that every country around the world continues running as normal. So not only is it great for the healthcare workers, but thank you to all those other people out there. If you do want to support the coronavirus research group, then donate to us at tiltify.com/@speedrun, where all donations are going to the Hackensack University Medical Center Foundation and their coronavirus response team.
Sweet. So this boss right here can be a bit of a pain when we go into it. Also, items that are in pots will always be there every run. This guy, we're going to try to hit him with two spin slashes and then 2 arrows. Otherwise, we're going to be chased around this room in an agonizing pain. There we go. Okay. I had to practice that a lot because that can sometimes not go as you intend it to. It's just kind of strange with the timing of him and the way that it takes for his armor to break. So now that we've got the key to Dungeon 6, we're going to go to Dungeon 5. Dungeon 5 is my least favorite dungeon. It has the most quick loads. Pretty much after everything you do in the dungeon, you have to do a quick load. And the final boss is pure RNG, which can make it go as easy as 2 cycles. Could be 1 cycle if you have a piece of power, or it could be as much as 10 cycles. That's why in the splits we actually mark how many cycles that you have for when you come back. The same being with the BBs. So there's red balls and blue balls that you deal with at the end of the game. but you'll see that obviously later on. So now we're in Dungeon 5, and this is the Catfish Maw. Or Fish Maw.
Yeah. Yep. And just as you mentioned these splits there, just out of interest, you know, where would you normally be at this point in the timer? How are you doing against your normal time?
Against my normal time right now, I think I would be behind by about 2 or 3 minutes. Just because I had one unfortunate death, and I'm also taking a few little bits of safety here. But pretty much, we are on track. I usually don't lose faith in a run until I see the RNG of the boss of this dungeon, as well as anything else, because I have PB'd coming back from a 3-minute time loss, and then I've also been ahead by a full minute, and the other day I actually had the most blue balls thrown at me by the end guy that I've ever seen in my life, and I actually lost a new PB to that, and it was very, very disheartening, to say the least.
Yes, I can imagine, yeah.
Alright, so here's where we need our 12 bombs. This guy, if you guys ever played this game and had trouble with it, he's actually one of the easiest things to kill. It's just tedious. Pretty much you just hit him, he falls down, bomb blows up, drop the bomb, he stands up, sucks to be you, take it, bomb blows up. It's as easy as this, kids. As Phil would say, that's a lot of damage. So we're gonna move our way through this dungeon now. We have to actually beat him 3 more times. I feel like I'm being caught up in AM radio with my very gentle uhs that I don't normally say, and I apologize for that. So I'm gonna go up here, come back, we reset this 3 different ways, hit the button, open the door, and this is where we're going to find him for the second encounter.
I always thought it was quite an interesting boss concept to have, where, you know, that normally bosses that don't die, they run away, but this one you can chase them down and then eventually beat them out of place.
Yeah, definitely. When I first playthrough of this game, I definitely took forever to get through it, and that guy was a freaking nightmare for me. There was like no coming back from anything he did for some reason. I was just always at a loss. And then I watched, you know, I watched TGH's world record run to see how to do it, and I was like, that's all you have to do. That's it. That's a little bit of mind-blowing, but what else to expect? So pretty much we're gonna do this 2 more times, but not before we do another quick load, because the place he's at last is actually where we went and got the first key and had a quick load out of. You are able to do a quick load as soon as the camera pulls away. Everything will do an autosave, so there's not really much to worry. The second you touch a key or anything else, you are also able to do a quick load. So it's pretty much the handiest feature that I don't think Nintendo intended for us to use in that way. So we go back up here. We're gonna go fight him one last time. We're gonna get our hook shot. If I don't, you know, eat it on the way there. It's actually, if you watch the any percent with glitches run too, this is where they would actually make sure that he dies positioned next to the bottom wall. Then I can't necessarily remember the full way to do it, but you get on top of the hook shot, and then that actually pushes you over the wall so you can skip the final boss of this dungeon and just grab the instrument, which honestly sounds like a dream come true with the way I feel about this final boss.
There are some interesting glitches.
There are, yeah. There's a lot of the game-breaking glitches And according to chat, I have to start learning that one now because I've done enough of this one. So I guess we'll be getting on that in the near future. Once again, these guys hitting you as soon as you come to the door. We're going to see some more Mario friends, which are the bloopers here. From what I understand, this game was made as a side project, not an official Nintendo game, which is why there's a lot of, like, things that are very out of place for a Legend of Zelda game. And then Nintendo caught wind of it and said, yeah, why not? Let's make it a whole game. I wouldn't say fully quote me on that because I am also riffing off of a runner who said that while doing a DX run about 4 years ago. So now that we've got our final boss key here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do our key skip now. We don't want to get any more keys, so we actually have to do the not so glitch in order to get through this part. And of course, there's
So this is the partial turn you were talking about earlier.
Yep, exactly. So it's not a glitch, but it's definitely a casual player wouldn't have figured it out on their own. Alright, so hopefully not many tries here. Take that, line this up like this, hit it right there. First try every try, up, and we're in the final boss. Whew. So the way that this boss goes is he's going to come out in 4 different ways. You want to hit him with the hook shot as far away as possible to get as much hits. If his eyeballs pop out and they are inverted, then he's going to come out as like a little worm type thing, and you will not be able to hurt him. And you also have no idea, like no way of predicting where he's going to be. So this boss is my absolute least favorite boss of the entire game. And that was very good RNG. That was not so good. And his eyes are inverted, so we can't grab him. Biggest part right now is just staying alive. Alright. That was actually a lot better RNG than I've gotten in a few of these runs. And what we're going to do now is we're going to take another heart just for safety reasons because we're about to go through quite a few dungeons where I'm going to have to shoot a lot of bombs at my face, and I don't want that to be the end of me. Constantly reaching for that split button. This is my, while practicing this week, it was only 2 days ago I started running this without splits, and it's very, like, weird to me to not hit a button after every dungeon. We're still live, right?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. I had a bit of a heart attack there. All right. So now we're gonna go to that one thing that we opened before we even got to D4 all around the map. We are going now to fight in the Face Temple, where, like I said before, the enemy is the floor. Fantastic.
I mean, it's a very angry feeling.
It is. He's got a lot going on, to be honest. As long as I can remember how to menu, we will get through this fine, just fine. This is actually, this would be a split here. This split is literally just from the exit of that dungeon to the entrance of this one, making it less than a minute, which I don't know why it's a split. It might just be a me thing and I didn't realize it, but it is the shortest split in the whole run. Alright, so when it comes to this dungeon, a lot of it is starting over, but this one feels like the biggest dungeon. There's also a few trick shots that I'm hoping I don't miss. Specifically one where I have to try to hit a moving skull while he's between two little warlock guys. This will make it so I kill him instantly. Otherwise, it's gonna eat a lot of time by me pulling out the hook shot, having to stop them, and saying the word a million more times. A lot of the parts of this game, or I'm sorry, of this dungeon, are going to be fighting floor tiles. So, just as a little, you know, appetizer to the final floor boss there, we're going to be fighting other parts of the floor as well because he brought his friends. Oh, I guess we're in his house.
Yeah, we brought our friends, but whilst we're talking about friends that have been or not been brought to locations, I just want to give a huge shout out to your fan base and the people that have come to support you. So far, they have donated between the $225 to this great cause.
That's how we
if you
do
want
it.
to add to that number, it's tiltify.com/@speedrun, and that money is all going towards the coronavirus support that Hackensack University Medical Center Foundation are working towards through research and direct care. It's a really great cause, and honestly, the money that's come in for this is just absolutely incredible. Thank you so much, guys.
Mad props to the community. This is the trick shot that I was just talking about. And we got it. Thank goodness. I did not want to be stuck in that room. This one has a lot of resetting as well. But now the rest of the temple is kind of very close to itself. It's really all shaped like a big U. If that makes sense. Well, at least it's shaped like a U in my mind. I don't know. But here's our first instance with fighting the floor. We are going to see this actually a few more times. We actually see this in the Eagle Tower on the way to the end. But in Dungeon 8, we end up making the floor instead of destroying it. So it's a little change of events there.
Make up and you work together instead of against each other. It's nice.
So we're going to open that, but we're not going to go in there yet. Take this guy, throw him and open it. We're going to shoot 2 bomb arrows and hopefully not kill ourselves, which we didn't, which is always fantastic. Go down here and get a key. And once again, we're going to reset. Now we're going to go fight, what I think is a stingray. I know I've had people in the chat go as far to say as they think it looks like an ice cream sundae. I guess you guys can be the judges of what you think it is. But we're going to try to get in there first and steal his boulder so we can hit him with it before he hits us with it. If not, no big loss. Almost.
And while you're having fun with that boulder, Zojo has donated another $2. Thank you so much, saying that he has had fun with the Mambo's Mambo. Amazing run. That Mambo's Mambo was really fun. Keep up the great work. Budokai has the most food stream on Twitch, and also he has a pocket full of Mari. Thank you so much, Zojo.
Alright, so we're going in here now. We're going to max out on bombs because we have to repeatedly go through this part of the dungeon. We're going to go through here first, though, and we are going to once again fight the floor. It makes enough sense to me, you know. But we use a key to unlock that. We fight this floor to get another key. Then for some reason we throw chess pieces into the ground. Is the only time it's used, at least in this run. And so I don't understand why it's relevant in anything else or why they added it in there, but it's actually the knight, so you have to throw it in the shape of an L. So if you don't know how to play chess, you now at least know how the knight moves. And that's valuable knowledge. There's also a specific order to this. The white horse does have to go left, the black horse does have to go right. sometimes it can be finicky when you throw it. Alright, more thwomps. And then, yeah, if you were going to add something, go for it.
I was going to point out that you have caused a argument in chat over the stingray slash spaceship slash bullfish slash whatever else people come up with. As all the different names flow through chat.
It's a spaceship now, is it? Alright. I can't focus on menuing. Okay, so we just used Marin's song there. Marin's song, which is so nice and wakes up the walrus and all the little animals listen to it. We use that to viciously implode all the rabbits that are right there. I don't understand why that works, but it makes it so we can save bombs and arrows there, so I'll take it. These guys can be a little bit annoying just because they don't ever really go the direction you want them to. The only thing that's consistent about them is they open their mouths every 4 movements. So now we're about to get the nightmare key here. And then we will do another quick load and go and fight the actual floor boss. And then we will be done with D6. Another quick note about these little warps right here. They're very oddly specific about where you stand on them. Half the time you could be standing directly in the center of them, and it will not acknowledge your existence. And when you're trying to cover up any lost time, that is generally a huge pain to deal with. Just because with the Pro Controller, or even if you're playing with Joy-Cons, you can't always get anything to line up as exactly as you want it to. So we're gonna knock this guy down, we're gonna go in here, and then we're gonna go and we're gonna take on this boss, if I can run the right way. This boss is a total of fighting the floor while shooting bombs and arrows at flying floor pieces. Needless to say, it has me floored. Thank you for watching the stream, everybody that's probably going to exit now that I said that. We're going to... It wouldn't be me without a bad joke. Alright. Let's see if we can line up these shots. That's a no for that one.
Whilst you play with the tiles, I will just bring up once again that tiltify.com/@speedrun is the place to go and drop your donations towards the Hackensack University Medical Center Foundation. I need to find a quicker way of saying that because that is one hell of a mouthful. But the work that they're doing is incredible towards the relief of coronavirus. They're working on research, they're working on treatment, they're supporting frontline healthcare workers. And the work they do is just so essential to keeping our society running at the moment. So anything you guys can donate, please slide it onto them. It will be so great for everyone involved. Thank you so much for the donations we've had so far. $227 during BuddyCar's stream so far.
All right, so now that we're leaving out of the Face Temple, we are now going to go down to a maze. After, of course, we talk to the owl, because we haven't seen him in so long. We just need him to come over and ooh-hoo real quick. Alright, so if I can remember buttons to hit. So now we're going to go to a maze, which is made entirely out of signs. So we can go and we can get a song from a frog with teeth in order to bring back a dead rooster. Once again, I'm not making any of this up. This is this is the game.
I hope someone clips these and just creates like a compilation of all of the out of context things you say.
I just, honestly, people are like, you're gonna practice your commentary, and I was like, no, I got this. Turns out, I was right. So we're gonna go over here. All the directions are in German, but the arrows aren't. Luckily, I can read arrows, so no hesitation of getting lost here. I also happen to think that the Teeth Frog song is the worst one, and it could have been thought a little better.
And definitely no fish song, that's for sure.
That's right. Definitely another runner was in my chat, and he was like, I don't understand why everybody likes this song. Next thing you know, Mambo is just spammed in the chat. It's like, that's why we like it. Because we enjoy a good meme. I don't know why I did that. This, oh my gosh. So this maze can be a bit of a hassle, especially when you go to the wrong one and have to start over. But solely because sometimes the enemies will spawn and not come near you at all, whereas other times they are just completely in the way. I'm just gonna go through this real quick. 1 second so I don't lose focus here.
So are the signs RNG as well? I figured there was a preset route for them.
There is a preset route. I just apparently don't have the brain capacity to talk and do it at the same time. So, you know, a little bit of user error every once in a while. And that's why I keep doing the same one. Okay, so the reason that I botched this twice is because all the signs that you can hit with another hook shot from whence you came is usually the next one right next to it, but this one, you will hit another sign. It's the one tucked away in the corner you need to hit. So this is, but we can go with the RNG thing. If you want to, you know, you want to believe that, I can totally be down with that. Okay, down. Read. Reading is power. This. Up.
I mean, you can also use the excuse of the arrows are in German and therefore, you know, you just can't work them out.
They are German arrows. High quality. This is where I've just botched it twice. Let's not do it again for the sake of pace. All right, we are out of these woods. Somehow completely still intact, but we made it through. Yeah. So that's the maze. We're gonna listen to this guy sing. He is the only person that teaches you a song. Not only is his song bad, it costs you $300 to learn it. So we had to get those 300 rupees in Dungeon 3 way back just so we could pay this guy to teach us his song. We're going to use it to put the ectoplasm back in the rooster, so we can use the rooster in a matter of like hang gliding in order to get around stuff and grab the key to the eagle's tower. And then once we destroy all the pillars in the tower, we will leave there, and we will come back to the eagle after we complete Dungeon 8. As you can see, I talked through that whole song because I'm not a die-hard fan of it.
Well, chat are displeased that they've missed out on the bass of that song, but they are very, very happy with the commentary from the general feel of things. They're very impressed with it, and I think it's tough. People forget how hard it is to talk constantly for, 5 minutes, let alone what, an hour and 20 minutes that we've been going for now. So it is impressive that you're still managing to go through this and explain everything you're doing so well. So really well done for that.
Well, I appreciate that. That's a lot of the nerves was considering dead air, but like that. Okay, so now we're gonna play this terrible song, which is just a scale. We wait for a minute here, and then we get the long ectoplasm. That's probably what that is. That brings the rooster back to life. We're gonna grab this chicken, and we're gonna warp with it. One thing about the Rooster is that because we don't beat Eagle's Tower right away, the Rooster actually stays with us longer than it's supposed to. So when we're fighting there's a boss that guards Dungeon 8. When we're fighting it, the chicken Rooster is actually there. It gets in the way, screws up the fight half the time because he can't hit the wall and damage, and he can just be overall annoying. But other than that, he's a good guy. He helps us around, especially when there is one like cliff area that we have to jump off of, over a hole. Some people will just run over it. I like to take a safe route and pick up the Rooster and float over it. Here's the owl to deliver his 2 text boxes, and we are now back on the path that I said we'd be back on before.
Yeah, another great difference between the glitchless and the glitchable run in this is with that Rooster, where you can step off a ladder as the Rooster climbs to it, and then infinitely climb as if you're still on that ladder again, and that's how they skip quite a lot of the sections leading up to these last 2 dungeons.
Yeah, definitely. It's gonna be a trip to learn the any % route, but I think it's time. Other than that, I've had a great time playing this game. I think the hardest part for me, like what I'll tell other people that have asked me about, like, how long you've been speedrunning, what you're doing, it's like, well, it actually took me forever to start speedrunning, because the hardest part is starting. It's, you know, well, what game do I do? What do I do? I actually love this game so much that I was like, screw it. This is the guy. Alright, I want to not fall here. Alright, we fell. Turn up. So the reason we don't want to fall there is because we have to go through this waterfall and climb back up and go in again. It's not like an oops, we lost a heart. It's an oops, we lost 22 seconds.
So a long way back round.
Yeah. I think it's more like probably 15 or 12. But the more I bonk, the more, you know, time we take. Let's go and round to it. Thank you for not falling twice, Link. I appreciate that. We need to redeem ourselves after the simple maze that we wanted to do 3 times to show off how well made it was. So now we get this key. We're gonna jump back in this hole, which is gonna drop us out where we just fell out before. And we're gonna climb the rest of the way to the Eagle's Tower and get ready to, you know, throw more boulders. All right. It's going great. You're doing great. There's a few more. Oh,
Sorry.
yeah. You got it. You can talk.
I was gonna say, it's interesting to hear you say that the challenge is getting in, like, starting the speedrun. Obviously, from this position, I speak to a variety of experienced speedrunners, and a lot of them say they feel the burnout come when they've kind of mastered the basics, and it's just getting the small mechanics down. How have you felt as your times drop quickly at the start, and then sort of the drops sort of decrease as you get better at the game?
Oh yeah. Oh god. And you know, that's one thing that really will cut you back during speedrunning, really. Is at first when you do it, man, you see nothing but gold splits, because every time you're doing it, you're getting better, you're getting faster, and then at one point, that just stops. And then what my chat called for a while was the 152 curse, was my PB, and I was stuck there for probably like the past 2.5 months, until I started practicing this week, and got my newest PB, which was 151.54. So it's not a big PB, especially because I fell in a hole, but the curse was finally broken, and I actually wouldn't have been practicing this game so hard had I not been able to do this marathon, so I thank you for that.
No, it's all the gratitude goes towards you and the runners. I mean, the time that you guys put into these races, and then the time you put on to showcase your ability in order to build up towards this great cause, which can be helped at tiltify.com/@speedrun. You know, we're so grateful for all of your time that you put into both running the game and then running it for us at pace. So thank you for that.
Heck yeah. So the main thing, like I've said about this dungeon here, is breaking the 4 pillars. This is a very poorly built tower that only has 4 support beams. So what's also unique about this dungeon is that we take this ball with us. The ball is what we have to use to break it, but wherever you leave it, as long as you don't leave the dungeon, the ball will stay static. So we're gonna leave it here, and it's gonna be there when we come back. And if we were to actually pull out the dungeon map, we would see where the ball was. The ball, though, cannot go to the lower floor. The way that we dropped out before when we got that other key, when I missed that one jump, is the same way this entire dungeon works. So beneath us right now is another full level, which we have to navigate simultaneously with the top level in order to get through the dungeon quickly. But if you throw the ball and miss it, and it falls in there, you're definitely looking at a 3 to 4 minute time loss, which is very heartbreaking. This is another point where we fight the floor, but for this one, I'm going to use all of my skill to stand in the corner and hold my shield up. Pro strats.
I see.
Alright, once again with more planning, we're gonna drop this bomb right here, push this down, grab the ball, throw the ball over, bust this pillar open right here, and then we're gonna take the ball back. That door that we just opened with that bomb is for the last pillar, which we actually have to hit from the other side. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take it, we're gonna throw it over this half wall over here, and then we're gonna go and get the boss key. Or as it's called in this game, Nightmare Key. Tomato, potato, it's all the same thing. Alright, so once again, backtracking. This time because the switch is flipped, so we can get the mirror shield. Go back, flip this again. If any of you ever played this casually, there's a chance that you will most likely find that this boss was very unpleasant to do, or this mini boss here, but you will see that it's actually the easiest thing ever. And if it wasn't hard for you guys, then whatever, it was hard for me, okay? I'm gonna run into the wall, it's gonna put me directly where I wanna stand, and I'm literally just gonna swat like this. That's it, it's done. Whole thing. I don't want to admit how long that took me on my casual playthrough, thinking that it made more sense to move completely around. So we're going to get the boss key here. We're going to go and we're going to break the last pillar, and then we are just going to get out of here.
Yeah, you got chat mourning for the structural integrity of Eagle's Tower as it is due to fall down. Chat very sad about that.
You know, to make progress, you gotta knock some towers down. That's the way it is. So this is the scariest throw for me, which we did it, which makes me happy, but I'm also now stuck, so we have to start this over. We're going to hit all of these guys, so they show the same, to make a chest appear. Not because we want anything that's in the chest, but because we need the chest to hookshot across. This guy right here, we're just going to completely ignore him. Sorry, guy. That was your big shot in the game, and we just skipped over it. We're going to go back through the floor room here. Now we're back to where we broke the second pillar. We're going to pull out our bombs and arrows. We're going to shoot. We're going to pull out our feather and our hook shot. Zip down through here. And tear this tower down. So here's our great cutscene. If we were to go back through the dungeon, we would have to deal with another cutscene, like I said at the beginning of the run. It literally cuts out, I believe it's like a minute and a half. So we're not going to deal with that. We're just going to leave, and we're going to take the chicken with us. We're going to go hit up Dungeon 8. will be our last full dungeon. And we go back, clean up the 2 bosses that we left behind. And then we go to the Windfish and wake up the whale. Or I guess the whale is the Windfish, but... So where I grabbed that rooster also and I jumped over that hole there, that is the hole that I fell in that ruined my PB because I threw the roosters slightly too early because I forgot you could do that while you are floating. We're gonna go through this. A lot of things here don't offer hearts, which is pretty okay. We don't need them a lot, except for when we get through this tunnel right here, there will be a bunch of falling boulders, and they are RNG as well. For each boulder that hits you, you lose a full heart, and then they generally hit you multiple times in a row, which is not ever fun. If we're lucky, we won't get hit by any of them, but can't make too many promises like that.
Does it feel different for you running it with this extra safety barrier, having these extra hearts where you normally have sort of 5 at this point?
Yeah, it's definitely making me play it a lot more loosely. But at this point, like right there, that would be kind of clenching for me, especially this one boss leading into the dungeon itself. He's a bit unfun for those of you that have played this game. Solely because he doesn't move really the way you want him to, and he does a lot of damage whenever he hits you. With that being said, you guys can see that as I go up and take him on now. The last time I was doing this, I only had 4 hearts right here, and as soon as the fight started, I did not succeed. It's also a lot harder to get into this fight after you've died once than it is to fight him from the start, because you have to walk in and have a cutscene, then the 2 birds on the side will come down and try to hit you. They're the ones I just took care of to get out of the way immediately, but they'll come down and try to get you while this guy is already awake and attacking you, and it's 3 times less fun than it already is. One thing that we try to do is while he's up here, we try to hit him there to get an extra 2 hits of damage on him. I'm also not sure if there's like a set time it takes him before he comes out of the hole. And that was also one of those instances where the rooster gets in the way and stops him from hitting the wall, so we get less hits, but luckily we already had enough. So now we are in Dungeon 8, which is comprised mostly of mini-bosses. And also these wonderful devices that you use to make different floors. We do have to do a few of these just to make sure that we get the keys and unlock some chests. When I used to use my more broken Pro controller, those things were a nightmare. I recently got a new controller this week just for this, and I also PB'd and saw a lot more gold split, so that may have had something to do with it, but that's kind of typical of a runner to blame a controller. A lot of people won't know that up here there is kind of a shortcut through the wall. There's other ways to get around it. This is definitely the fastest way. See that right here. It's a lot of menuing around though. This is our last stop to get arrows in the entire run. So what we do with them next is going to determine what we can use them for. So we're going to have arrows that we use that are specific for killing a mini boss in here. We need a bomb arrow combination in order to get to the final boss in Dungeon 4. So that can also go a little bit awry, knock you back into a different loading zone, like a different screen, and then it'll reset it. And then we also want to use the arrows when fighting the eagle. Chances are, if I run too low on the arrows, we will just fight the eagle without using any, because we also need 10 arrows, and that's without missing for the final phase of the final boss. So calculating out the arrows is kind of like a big thing. There is a spot in the face dungeon where you can actually grab extra, but that's on a like more need to do basis. This hallway is gonna hate me.
Well, whilst you make your way through the hallway of hate, just a quick shout out to Pithole. Thank you so much for your $20. No message with it, but I'm going to assume that your message is something along the lines of great run, great streamer, great times. So thank you so much for that $20. Anyone else who wishes to support this great cause, it's tiltify.com/@speedrun. Or you can type !donate into chat and it'll give you the link. And everything that comes through this link, 100% of it is going towards Hackensack University Medical Center Foundation and their coronavirus COVID-19 fighting fund, where they're researching, supporting the frontline healthcare professionals out there. For those who are interested, it's about $3 for one of the N95 masks that keeps the healthcare workers safe. About $10 for a antibody test to help the research with the better treatments and hopefully eventually a cure and/or vaccine, which is what we're aiming for.
Sweet. So what we're doing now is we're just going through, we're getting the boss key. Pretty much just fighting a bunch of mini. It's more or less a boss rush going through this final dungeon hall. It's usually a toss-up with this guy, this Hinox right here. He usually throws, I believe he's a Hinox. I might be saying this wrong, but he usually throws the bomb, and it's generally out of range from hitting me. But then there's other times he hits me. It's not a big inconvenience. It's just like Y is sometimes better than others. I think it might have to do with the placement of when you press up along with the Pegasus boots boost. So the first thing that we're going to do now is we're going to go fight another one of those octopuses that I guess octopi, that we fought before in Dungeon 4. We're going to kill it with solely arrows, though, to make it go by fast. That'll give us our boss key, and then we are going to go and then take on the final boss. This dungeon used to seem really long to me. Now it feels like one of the shorter ones.
I don't know. It feels definitely very long when you're playing casually, and even watching you go through it way too quickly, it still feels like definitely the most convoluted dungeon of the lot.
Yeah, it's definitely, there's definitely still a lot to it, but I feel like once you get it down, it's just second nature. Then again, that could be said about most things in running. So we only lost one extra arrow there. Ideally, we'd want to hit him while he's completely across that little lava lake. Not that big of a deal. But with there only being 18 left, and I want to stay safe, we're not going to use any arrows to fight the eagle, which generally doesn't make too big of a difference. It just can add 2 or 3 more cycles depending on how his RNG wants to be with me. Alright, so now I got that. We can go finish the dungeon. A lot of the time, I like to change my items before I open a chest or anything to do a quick load, so that way I don't have to do it as soon as I come into it. It doesn't make that big of a difference, but if I were to open the chest and then change it, I would once again have to change it as soon as we do the load. So, I mean, It's really, I guess, to each their own.
I mean, at this point, if it feels faster for you, then it's a win, really.
Yeah, definitely. Whew. Almost through it. Also, we got this. We've got, like I said, the eagle. We've got the fish. And then we've got the windfish, which we get to hear a beautiful 1 full minute long song, which when you're on the cusp of getting a new PB or anything else, that minute is longer than any microwave minute you can ever go up against, I guarantee it. Alright, so that went pretty well there. We don't want him to go back in the lava just because it takes longer. Now that he's at this phase, it only takes 3 hits to end him. The hardest part apparently is just hitting him. Alright, we have full health here, and we have extra hearts, so we're not going to take that safety heart. We might take one more safety heart, depending on how I'm feeling about the ending of the game, and that'll be after the fish. Hopefully it's after the fish, because I don't want to have to take one from the eagle. I'm not sure exactly what they call the drum, but they call it octopus something.
Yeah, I've just seen the obviously the video slightly delayed, but the German for the drum has just come up, and that is a odd word.
I think a lot of German words are actually like, it's just like the words put together. I think somebody was watching, Krinfar was watching me do this speed run the other day, and he was like, I just learned that the German word for swamp is slime water. Like, there you go. Speed running is educational.
Definitely not wrong. It is slimy water.
One thing you'll notice, as soon as we get back into this dungeon, we're gonna go into this warp here. It's gonna take us back where we fought that one guy, but that one L-shaped bridge is no longer out there. This is because we broke the tower. And we didn't get a full spiel about that because we left and went and did something else. So now we're gonna go up here, and we can freely take on this final guy here. I'm gonna use one arrow just for the sake of doing it, because there's one opportunity right at the beginning where he would be in range for a charged sword attack, but he comes on too quickly, so the only way to actually hit him on his first round is with an arrow. That'll probably be the only arrow that I use, just because I don't want to run with it. Right there. There's different ways to see the cycles. If he comes in with his wings going forward at you, he's going to be throwing feathers at you. If his wings are down at his side, he's going to charge you. So when it goes like this, these are the cycles that we don't want. We want either him to charge at us like this, or we want him to fly low so we can hit him with a charged attack. That was pretty much perfect RNG for that fight. We only got one of the feather cycles, which are the absolute worst. And honestly, that's a load off my chest. I'm gonna do some sweet parkour right here. Go down, go in the door, and get our second to last instrument. And now we're gonna purposely fall in the hole that ruined my previous PB, because that's going to take us right down by Dungeon 4's entrance. We're going to swim right in there and hopefully take him out easy peasy so we can get to the end. If anything, I feel like this run has gone faster than it normally does.
Yeah, I mean, we're making pretty good time through it. Chat referring to the piano as the toy piano of legend.
There you go.
But a lot of happiness in chat for the current run and how things are going for you, and you know, comment on how great the RNG is and how great you've been as a presenter during this run.
I super appreciate that. This is been performing music a long time. I've never performed a video game, you know, so it's all different. So we're gonna go up in here. We're gonna take this warp. Like I said, it's very specific where you stand. We already got the boss key from here earlier, so we just go once again straight to the boss. I'm also really glad that the RNG manipulation worked. I mean, there's a very slim chance it wouldn't. There's a 5-second window of me messing up. Like, I have a 5-second window of error, but I also have the alternate routes pulled up in front of me if worse came to worse. You can very easily just get the wrong seed by just ever so slightly hitting it later early, but I think my huge fear of that made sure that I compensated for it well. It's nice that we fight this boss last, solely because this is one of the easiest bosses to fight. You just want to charge up the sword, swing it. Most of the time, the ideal way to do it is to hit him twice at a time. And he said blub, blub, blubber. I'm glad that they gave him dialogue. It wasn't necessary at all. His name isn't Piranha Killer either in English, so it's actually a lot cooler in German. Alright, that's it for him. Easy peasy. It's time to go finish the game. How much health do we have? We got plenty. We don't need that one. Let's go to the end. A lot less sweaty than I thought I'd be. Alright, we're gonna go in here. Get this heart. Woo! And then we get to hear Marin's song, which once again is beautiful and not rabbit killing. Which is nice. I honestly don't know why that kills the other enemies. Just saw another person do it, and I asked them, they're like, I don't know how it works. And I was like, alright, you've sold me. And I don't know if you know this, but hitting the buttons does nothing but make you feel better. Once again, we're going to go back to our most important warp zone, which is Boris's hut. We have actually passed the Windfish's egg probably about 4 times now. And now we're finally going to go up there. If we were to go anywhere else other than directly to the Windfish right now, we would actually be approached by a pink ghost that would want us to take it to its home, which would add another 12 to 20 minutes. That's what I did on my very first completed run of this. I tried to go back to the main town to get more powder. Ended up having to do that. Still finished the game 2 hours and 30 minutes. Still popped a bottle of champagne. Alright, we picked every song except the one we wanted. So now we've got a full minute of music. Music for this game is really good. I will give them that.
Yeah, great sound design through. I mean, through most of the Zelda games, there's great sound design, but through this one especially, it's really beautiful.
Yeah, definitely. I've always wanted to see Symphony of the Goddess, but I've never made around to doing that yet. One day. I don't know if you have anything to fill in here, if you want to plug again.
Yeah, I mean, I will happily talk about the great work that the Hackensack University Medical Center Foundation are doing towards coronavirus. They are helping the frontline healthcare professionals. They are working on research, and we are raising money for them throughout the whole of PACE 2020. And you can support that at tiltify.com/@speedrun, where 100% of your donations will be going to this amazing cause. If you're interested in how that money goes towards them, some of it goes towards antibody tests, which helps the research, helps work towards treatments and vaccines and cures, and some of it goes to PPE for those frontline healthcare professional workers. that are really keeping most of the global economy running at the moment. And between them, the retail workers, and the delivery drivers that are constantly facing the public and risking their own health just to keep everyone running, the gratitude that we should all be showing them is endless.
Absolutely. So this is our predetermined path that we know now. This is 3, so it's 4 rights. 4 rights don't make a wrong, but we can go up, and we can go left, and we got 1 more left, and then 1 more up. So normally you would have to do the full trade route in order to figure this out. Otherwise, it would be an endless cycle of running around. But once again, like I said, we got the good seed that we wanted from starting up the console the right way. Thank goodness for my fears. And this is the final boss. The final boss has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's either 5 or 6 phases. You'd think I would know this by now. The first one, usually the way they start is pretty predictable. This first one's going to be in front of me. Then the next 2 are RNG of wherever he pops up. We just hit him with the powder, though. Now that we've done that, we pull out our arrows. Next, we get our guide that gives us a 50-50 chance. He's either going to red ball us or he's going to blue ball us. We do not want blue balls, we want red balls. So we can hit that first one right away because that one is a given out of the 4. The next 3 are all just a toss-up. So there's 1 red. We need 2 more red balls. For something that is a 50-50 chance in RNG, they sure favor the blue ones a lot. There's 2. And then we've got 1 more red that we need here. And there it is. Next, we're going to fight a silhouette of that very first cheeseburger worm, Moldorm, from the first dungeon. All we're going to do is stand here and slash him 4 times. Now we're going to fight Ganon. We're going to take him out in a similar fashion. It's going to be 2 full swipes. 3rd swipe. And then, hopefully, this guy messing up my cycle. Okay. Well, that was stressful. All right, so now we've got this guy coming here at us. He's just going to take 4 slashes. And then we have the final phase, which is where, as somebody said to me while I was practicing this, he just wants to give you a hug and you keep shooting him in the eye. Which is essentially all it is. 2 of 10. It's 4 of 10. And if you do run out of arrows here, you can use the fire rod as well, but it does less damage. I'm not sure how many cycles you have to do. You can also hit, if you're fast enough, you can hit the eyeball with 3 at a time, but that only matters if you're going to do that twice in a row. And then time happens here once we get to the top of the staircase. And that's it. That's Link's Awakening Remake.
Amazing run, incredible time on that as well. Given the pressure of working under this this sort of circumstance, really good work there.
Yeah, thank you. This was super fun. I had a lot of fun. It's also been a really fun week just preparing for this, practicing every day. I have to promise my stream that I will go back to other games once this is over, but the whole week was just this game. I think it's worth it though. I was pretty stressed out, but I really am thankful for you guys having me here. Thankful for everybody that came to watch and support. Thankful for everybody that donated, and just thankful for the opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, well, all the thanks really need to go to you and the time and effort you put into preparing this run. Like you say, you put a whole week of preparation into this. And just as we close out there, Zar Jojo has once again donated another $3 and saying a really outstanding commentary from you, and that he's learned a lot whilst you played through this. He says that you continue to entertain and inspire the hearts of thousands to be the best gamer they can all be. And I think that is just a really great way to encompass how you dealt with this run, how you presented, and the $250 that have come in over the past 2 hours, all towards this great cause, are entirely down to you. So thank you so much for your time and the effort you've put into getting this run down. You are an incredible person. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You guys are awesome. I guess that's it for me.
Awesome. So up next, we have a run of Minority Report, everybody runs, an any percent run by Mizzlesticks. And that will be starting in about, well, 3 minutes actually. So we're pretty much bang on time with this. So brilliant timing from everyone involved. That worked really well. So we're going to have a brief intermission where people can get drinks and such. And then we're going to be back very shortly. Once again, thank you so much, Buddyka. Thank you.
No problem.